Today on the newscast, U.S. fighter jets shoot down 2 Iranian drones whose target was Israel. Plus, Israeli authorities break up a Hezbollah terror plot on Israeli soil. Get all the breaking details next. Hey folks, Erick Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. The drone war between Israel and Iran continues heating up. New details are emerging today about an attempted Iranian drone attack against Israel, which unfolded last month. Now, Israeli officials believe that these 2 Iranian drones, which were shot down over northern Iraq by U.S. fighter jets, were making their way to Israel to strike Israeli targets. Again, I know today is Monday, March 21st. This incident reportedly occurred on February 14th. But the information is just coming out now. What an escalation that would have been. Again, thankfully, these 2 Iranian drones, which were launched from Iran, traveling across northern Iraq on their way to the Jewish state to wreak havoc there, thankfully shot down by U.S. fighter jets. But this now, folks, gives us more backdrop to the events that have been unfolding over the past few weeks that we have laid out for you here on the Watchman Newscast. Let's rewind to last Monday, March 14th. We reported here on that newscast. You can check it out in our archives. Hey, while you're there, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you get alerts every time a new video is posted. But we reported last Monday, March 14th, that Israel destroyed a fleet of Iranian drones, hundreds of Iranian drones reportedly destroyed by 6 Israeli drones that apparently flew from northern Iraq into Iran and destroyed this Iranian drone fleet. Now, that Israeli attack came a few days after this attempted Iranian attack with the 2 drones shot down by U.S. fighter jets. Was this Israeli strike against those Iranian drones, was that in retaliation? Again, the pieces are starting to come together in this puzzle. Was that Israeli attack taking out hundreds of Iranian drones retaliation for the attempted Iranian attack a few days prior? Track with me here. Now, let's fast forward to last weekend where we had the Iranian regime firing 12 ballistic missiles into northern Iraq, specifically targeting the city of Erbil, which is the capital of Iraqi Kurdistan. Now, the Iranian regime said that attack was in retaliation for the death of 2 Iranian Revolutionary Guards Corps commanders. A little while previous, Israel took them out in Syria. Iran said it was responding to that, but apparently Iran was also responding with the launch of these 12 ballistic missiles to that Israeli strike inside Iran. Once again, a daring move by Israel. 6 drones sent by Israel taking out a fleet, hundreds of Iranian drones. And we get that number, folks, not even from Israeli sources. Iranian-linked media sources are admitting, yes, hundreds of drones, hundreds of our drones were taken out. So what we have here is a kind of tit-for-tat situation unfolding over the past month plus, and we are keeping a very close eye on this. Speaking of Iranian drones and Iranian supplied drones, Saudi Arabia was bombarded once again this weekend by missiles and attack drones launched by those Iran-backed Houthi rebels based in Yemen. Now, water facilities, natural gas facilities, energy were among the targets here in these hybrid attacks launched by the Houthis. Missiles and drones launched in tandem, targeting Saudi civilian infrastructure in multiple sites inside the country. Now, no one was killed reportedly, but the Houthis, Saturday and Sunday, 2 straight days of a rocket and drone bombardment against Saudi Arabia. Now, the White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan commented on this and said rightly that Iran is enabling these Houthi attacks against Saudi Arabia, equipping them, training them on how to use the drone technology, supplying them with the drones, the drone components, ballistic missiles. The head of the snake, folks, is in Tehran, in the form of the Iranian regime when it comes to the Houthis, Hamas, Hezbollah, who we'll talk about in a minute, the Shia militias in Iraq and Syria, Islamic Jihad as well in Gaza, the head of the snake, the epicenter for regional and really global terror is the Iranian regime. And it's very interesting to have Jake Sullivan admit as much, while at the same time, his colleagues in the Biden administration are negotiating a disastrous nuclear deal with the Iranian regime, which will unilaterally gift wrap the mullahs in Tehran with billions of dollars in sanctions relief, even as they're launching ballistic missiles, which, by the way, those 12 ballistic missiles, which I mentioned, came awfully close to the U.S. consulate in Erbil. Now, the Iranian regime said they were targeting Israeli assets inside Iraq, but I can tell you those missiles came very close to U.S. assets inside that country, even as that is happening, even as Iran is plotting assassinations against former Trump administration officials, including former National Security Advisor John Bolton, and even as Iran is stirring up a hornet's nest throughout the region and sowing chaos wherever they go. The Biden administration, while acknowledging that openly, is still hell-bent on coming to some sort of agreement with the Iranian regime, which will, again, do nothing for the United States. I've asked that across multiple newscasts now. What exactly does the United States get from the Iran nuclear deal? Nothing. It is, when it comes to foreign policy, folks, I can't think of a worse decision, but other than 2015, the first incarnation of the Iran nuclear deal, which was courtesy of the Obama administration. Joe Biden was vice president during that administration. Now he wants to revive this deal, and fasten your seatbelts, because this deal essentially only lasts for about 2.5 years, and it kicks the can down the road, and Israel is watching very closely. This deal makes war more and not less likely. Speaking of wars, rumors of wars, the Iranian regime and its proxies, as I wrap here, I want to mention that Israeli authorities have been very busy lately. They also broke up a Hezbollah terror plot on Israeli soil. Now, this involved 2 Israeli Arab men who live in the Galilee region in northern Israel. They traveled to Turkey and met with a Hezbollah operative there who wanted these 2 men to smuggle weapons, Hezbollah weapons, into Israel for use in terror attacks. And this Hezbollah operative also wanted them to plot terror on Israeli soil. If Hezbollah's fingerprints are on this, you can bet that Iran's fingerprints are on this, because Hezbollah marches to the drumbeat of Tehran and the Iranian regime. They are a wholly owned subsidiary of the Iranian regime. These are the tactics now that Hezbollah is using. Perhaps they're a little gun shy, no pun intended, of carrying out a strike or some kind of attack or provocation along the Israeli-Lebanon border. Maybe now they're trying to recruit inside Israel to have an attack carried out that way. We're keeping a close eye on it, and I know Israeli authorities are keeping a very close eye on Hezbollah's activities, now trying to recruit inside Israel. They've done it over the years many times, but to see it so openly, a plot so openly broken up, is just another reminder of the threats Israel is facing within and without. We need to be in prayer about all this, folks. Look, as the attention is understandably on Russia and Ukraine right now, we have other evil actors in the world, including Xi Jinping in China, who's got designs on Taiwan, including North Korea, Kim Jong-un, and of course, the Iranian regime with its designs on Israel. The regime and its proxies also moving, and while they're moving, the prophetic chess pieces are moving on the board. God is in control. He sits on the throne, but we need to pray, and pray like never before as all of this is unfolding. Hey, we'll keep a close eye on it for you here on the newscast. Thanks for joining us today. Until tomorrow, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace. Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, click subscribe, and tap the bell icon to turn on notifications for new Watchman Newscast episodes every weekday.